Hello, hello, and welcome to this episode of Ambush on Air. I'm your host, Sam Bush, and as always, bringing you topical content in the Microsoft space, all about sales, marketing, and partnerships. So today I am joined with two of my very good friends in the marketing and revenue space. Let's do some quick intros. So Kate Coffey-Bacon, you take it first.
Hello, I am Kate Coffey-Bacon. I am SVP of Marketing and Strategy for US Transactions Corporation. We are USTPay. We have a payment integration into Business Central. You have likely seen me out in the wild at all of our industry events. I try to have boots on the ground in as many places as possible. If I haven't met you yet, I cannot wait to meet you.
I love it. I love it. All right. What about you, Khaled?
Awesome. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Khaled Nassra. I run a company called Enki Consulting. We support companies in the Microsoft space with revenue management, really management in general of their marketing, sales, go-to-market, and product. And excited to talk to everyone today. Hopefully, we have a lot of engaged comments after this podcast, but also to both of you, Sam and Kate, and learn from you both.
Yeah, this is a good one. It's a good one. Okay, so I haven't done an intro myself in a little bit, but I have some news. So when this podcast comes out, this will be official. I am starting as the Chief Marketing Officer at Dooap very soon. Very excited to step into this big growth role for me, but also a role that feels really ready for what I have to offer. And an organization that I think is perfectly aligned to the ambush that is me. So I'm very excited to kind of have this discussion today because what we're talking about is the evolving role of the CMO, which is so funny because I'm taking it.
I thought we were going to talk about Finnish saunas.
Finnish saunas are high on my list. I already have Vega working on like when I go to Finland, what do I need to do? Where can I go? Like I think I'll probably end up in Helsinki where most of the people are based. And then I'm like, what if I take like 2 weeks and like work remote all around Finland and maybe even Sweden? Like where could I go? So
I will replace Vega for you.
Yes.
If I can, and I will say spend as much time as possible in the Helsinki airport because man, that thing is gorgeous. I think it's the best airport in the world.
Really?
Finland overall, like nicest people. But yeah, if you're a fan of Moomin, especially, which if you don't know what Moomin is, get ready to know what Moomin is. I know everyone in Finland listening to this will know about Moomin.
They will, and that'll show that I'm the outsider.
I think he's a hippo. I'm actually not too sure what kind of animal he is.
Okay, I'll look
he's
it up.
like the mascot of Finland.
Yes. Man,
I don't know why he's a hippo and he's Finnish, because I'm pretty sure they're not indigenous to Finland.
Probably not. Probably. But how cute. Okay, a nice little tidbit for me. Okay, so we're talking about really the evolving role of the CMO, CRO, how marketing and revenue teams really have evolved and what we see they should look like in the future. So without kind of waxing too much in the beginning, what are some signals that you guys are seeing in the marketplace right now that show that like the job title of CMO and the job title of Chief Revenue Officer or Chief Sales Officer are like completely changing or no longer working in that like traditional mindset? Khaled, I'll let you go first.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So I've been both of these roles in the past. What's interesting is I believe they're becoming one.
Yes.
For many companies, there's no longer a CMO and a VP of sales. You know, it's like one unified CRO role is I think what we're evolving to. And why I like this personally is because I think we often focus too much on like random acts of marketing, or we'll focus on we got results, but we don't know why. I want more attributable revenue, more high agency activities that we know are going to result in actual results. And I think that combination of understanding marketing, understanding sales is key. I will give one little anecdote. Growing up, I worked in a lot of kitchens in restaurants. What I think a good CRO is one that is like a chef that's worked every station in the kitchen.
Agreed.
So if you understand marketing, you understand sales, you understand product partnerships, you're going to be successful. And that's what I'm hoping that evolution journey continues on that path.
Yeah. Yeah. Kate, what are your thoughts around it?
So I have really big thoughts, and I'm going to try to not repeat myself over and
Have
over
at
and
it.
over again, but I probably will, because at the heart of it, I believe that we are all in sales and we're
Yep.
all in marketing.
Yep.
We are all our sales force and we're all our marketing professional. I also think that, and I want to push pause on it for a second and say, I have a lot of friends that are marketers outside of the tech space. So
Mhm.
sometimes when I talk about some of these things, are like, what? Like,
So
I
different.
feel like because we're in the tech space, we are ahead. Like, we are looking at where the puck is going to land instead of where it is right now. And so we're always looking to the future in our planning and our strategy. So I do want to say that first. So some of this that I say may kind of be like, what? That I am not looking at now. I'm looking at where things are going. And I'm challenging myself to think about that strategically. Where are we going? And here are some of the things that I'm seeing. I'm
Mhm.
seeing that our typical sales funnel is collapsing. And I'm
Mhm.
seeing more of a linear funnel. The buyer journey, as Sam and you and I have talked about across the country, it is nonlinear,
Mhm.
it's multi-touch, it's anonymous.
Yep.
Revenue is now, it's happening now. It is a team sport. Marketing and sales are playing on separate fields. And I think where we're going is that disconnection is
Yeah.
going to slow us down and is going to be a drag on our growth.
Yeah.
So some of the signals I think that I'm seeing, CROs being pinged for missed pipeline goals. A lot of that is rooted in poor positioning, no market strategy. CMOs are burning out because they're being held to revenue goals without a seat at the revenue table. So you have high growth companies that are seeing some of these challenges and not being able to position themselves to solve the problem.
Yeah. I think you hit it nail on the head with CMO or head of marketing roles not having a seat in the revenue table. There are so many times, even as like a mid-level manager in roles before, having one of my goals was SQLs for the team. And I'm like, but I don't get to influence how we get those on your side or what you do with them after I give them to you. So I can give you as many as possible, but who the hell cares? Because I don't have any stake in the game after that. And you don't have any stake in the game before it. Like the number of sales teams I've worked with that have been amazing, only one. All the others, I feel like you kind of mentioned them playing on separate fields. I, in a lot of my career, have seen them playing against each other, where it's like we're stealing from the partner team so that the sales team hits the number, or we're stealing from the marketing team so that sales wins, right? And it's this attribution bullshit, curse
Right.
word. But at the end of the day, attribution, I think, is the root of the problem of why we all are delayed in growth. I don't know how you guys feel about that as kind of a bold statement.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need attribution because you want to know what you can actually control and what you can't control. What I think companies fail on is kind of what both of you have touched on just now, that you are assigned a target that you have no control over. I mean, attribution is important, but it's also about having agency over what you're doing and what you're accountable for. We're talking about sales versus marketing, but think about sales versus sales. What I see in a lot of bigger companies is the SDRs begin feeling that antsiness of like, I'm doing all the work, and then some random AE comes and takes all the credit. Like, what the hell?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that all stems from, honestly, a cultural problem in the way that a lot of these companies have been built. We still use sales and marketing methodologies that are from the 80s.
Yes.
And the product function at a lot of tech companies has evolved and is now agile and is now using a model that allows pod based contribution, or
Yeah.
they will use something like design thinking. So they have an iterative process. But sales and marketing, the process is not iterative. You
Mm.
don't have proper feedback loops.
Nope.
You don't have
Mhm.
a shared target that is known and acknowledged and is directional for the whole team.
Yeah.
And so you end up with this sense of unease and this, like, everyone's scared. So you're going to start chewing on the other person's rope so they fall first.
100%. I've seen that so often in bigger organizations, especially like in one of my roles, I on a regular basis heard our heads of leadership water cooler chats that were like, well, we did our part. So I'm putting this together in front of the board. And it's like, yeah, but you're showing them like top of funnel metrics and you're kind of stopping at middle of funnel. And then we're showing the sales as like pipelines low close rate. Like, yeah, it's all good and fine if you can say marketing did all these actions, but it didn't drive business. So they really didn't do anything. Right. And it's moving away from that conversation of random acts of marketing and I hit my numbers. Those numbers need to go. Those numbers need to stay in a view that only marketing looks at so they know what levers to pull, but they don't need to be seen by the whole company. They don't need to be seen by the sales lead. I, as a head of marketing, need to know these 3 campaigns are what delivered my most close one. So I need to keep replicating these, right? And that's what I show my sales team is we're going to keep doing these campaigns because they generate revenue.
I love that. Sorry, it's like KPIs should be dead. The only KPI is revenue, and you should have directionality drivers only, which
Yes.
are internal. But ultimately, your one goal is, do you drive top line without having a wonky bottom line?
Exactly.
So
That's it.
we are hiring a new sales team at my company right now. It is very, very exciting. It's an exciting time to be alive.
Mm-hmm.
And not only are we equipping them, we're launching a new vertical. Not only are we equipping them for sales in that vertical, listen, I'm going to say something really big, bold, and honest right now. I'm equipping them for marketing. I'm giving them ownership over their contacts, over the contacts that they are making, to create nurture campaigns for them, to stay in constant contact with them, because I do truly believe, and I'm implementing it at my business. I am sales. I'm SVP of marketing. I am
Mm-hmm.
sales. These account executives are marketing. We are coming together with that common goal of, Khaled, you said it, generating revenue.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so interesting because there are so many different kinds of marketers. And you two are 2 of my favorite marketers, and you know that, but there are so many kinds. And I think what is becoming really apparent to me in our space is we don't have enough marketers like us. Like we've got marketers who still do kind of the stuff that is safe because they're in organizations where they've been for a long time, or they just don't know that they can have a voice in this. So I think when did you start becoming a revenue marketer? Can you remember a moment that you were like, not a let's write this many blogs and let's do this many things? Was there a catalyst for it? Kate's shaking her head no. She's saying,
No,
hell no, never.
I think it's always who I've been. And it probably goes back to my work history. And probably, I won't say probably, it is because I own my own business. And so I was marketing, but I was also in charge of all of the leads. And there were no marketing sales leads. They were just leads that were coming in. They were our potential business. And so I think maybe because I started in that space where it all just, I owned everything and I had support staff for everything. So now coming into a more like, I'll say traditional corporate America role, I'm still carrying that set of experience in with me into this role. I can't separate them. I mean, we all know I'm a marketer. Where am I? I am out there selling my product, right? We all know that. Soft selling my product, but I'm selling it. So Sam, I don't think it has ever been any different for me. And I mean, I'm 46 years old. It's not like, I'm like this super young marketer with, crazy new ideas. I've been in marketing for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the answer is no. I've always
Good.
been this.
I love that. What about you, Khaled?
Yeah, I mean, I did sales
Mm-hmm.
before I did marketing.
Exactly.
There you go.
So I think somewhat similar, but I do remember when it was more assigned to me because in my first role leading a marketing team, we suddenly did not have a sales leader anymore. So I didn't, the sales team didn't report to me, but their targets were assigned to me. And so suddenly I had to care about whether they closed their opportunities or not, and make sure that I know why they're not closing their opportunities, and I'm not just tossing it over the fence and hoping things happen.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say it was something I didn't think about and suddenly I started thinking about, but it was an interesting shift in that I was keen to ensure their success,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going out and pulling down information from them to understand what are you hearing back on this opportunity, digging into every single one. I remember sometimes it would be like 6 p.m., no one else is in the office. I'm going through CRM opportunity by opportunity, why were they lost?
Yeah.
And I didn't have to do that, but I wanted to do that because I knew the success is my success.
Exactly. My first job in the channel was a content marketing manager because I'm a reader, I'm a writer, I love to write. I did, I think, almost 200 pages on a website in a year. It was like my whole job was to write product content and then web content and then demand gen content. And when I got done with it, I was like, I hate this. I'm like, I'm doing the foundation, which everyone needs a foundation, right? But I'm not delivering money. My salary is not worth the value that now, after this is all built from an inbound engine, now I have to get inbound leads, and inbound closed one. There've been a couple of other positions I've been in, which I'm doing a podcast with Kate Coffey-Bacon on Coffee Talk about this. When I've been in roles that are repetitive, like day to day, I'm doing the same 10 things and delivering campaigns in a box and all of that. It's really hard for me because I have this entrepreneurial spirit that is like, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is delivering on cash value for the business. And when you look at it in such a focused silo, you miss the forest among the trees because you're in the trees and you're doing the random acts of marketing sometimes, really high value. But at the end of the day, I've really realized in my career where I'm happiest is when I'm focused on revenue and driving revenue. And when I'm at my lowest is when I'm creating content, right? And those two are not mutually exclusive, but in my job titles, they have been. So I'm really excited to go into the CMO role and have agencies to help me pull all this stuff together and be the forest like I need to be, and that makes me the strongest marketer of myself. So there was a time that I was not a revenue marketer and it was miserable. I was like, I'm doing these boring tasks, which is fine if you guys love to do that. Everyone is different. I support you. I love you. I believe in you. But that's just not how I can be.
But I think, if I can add one thing in there, I think that there's also, I think about our junior marketers right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And our junior marketers, that might be where they are. You talked about
have to
laying
start there.
that foundation. But also, I think it's our job to say, again, going back to my analogy of the puck, of having that conversation with your junior marketers and saying, where do you want to go in your career?
Yes.
What are you looking to do? If you want to stay a content writer and that's all you want to do, first of all,
we love it.
But also,
but you need to learn AI and your job's going to go away.
About you. But if your goal is to be that CMO, if that's your dream job, let's talk about what that's going to look like in 10 years or 15 years when you are in a place to step into that role. And what do you need to be doing right now to prepare for that role? About a year and a half ago, I went to my boss and said, put me on every call. Put me on every call. Put me on demos. Put me on anything, everything, because I need to understand every single part of our business so that I understand when I'm writing content, because I do it all, when I'm writing content, how that affects the customer, the client in that demo.
Exactly.
It's not just the content writing and done. You have to have a seat in marketing, in sales. You have to have a seat at every table and understand it all.
I agree. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit. And this, I think, is kind of funny. If we had to rewrite the CMO job description right now, what would you change or add to it? A hot take here is great.
Yeah, change the title.
There you go. Yeah. I'm very excited to be a CMO, but Change the title. Change the title. Do you think 2026 is the time to do it across the channel, or do you think we have some evolution?
No, I think so. I mean, I don't think anyone is a CMO in the channel, in the traditional sense.
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
if
we're
you
weird.
sell,
Yeah.
yeah, if you sell
It's because we're,
CPG, or if you sell like, I don't know, something that is more B2C, that
Exactly.
works as a title because you are genuinely just marketing, and then the selling doesn't even matter really because you're just doing marketing channel stuff with your retailers.
Exactly.
But for us, that's not really a thing. I mean, you can be head of revenue and partnerships, you can be head of channel revenue, you can be whatever. But I don't think that anyone is genuinely a CMO and their job is strictly marketing. I mean, that's fine. You can have a job that is not accurately describing your role and you probably do 10 million things more. But that goes back to Kate's point about burnout. I think a lot of marketers in the channel are burnt out,
100%.
is probably because they do stuff that they don't get recognized for, but
Well, yeah.
then they have to do.
Yeah. Yeah. I see that often. I'm trying to catalog all of the CMO title people in the channel, and I only have a couple. I'm doing a podcast with one next week, so I might ask her beforehand, just her point of view on it all.
yeah. I've thought a lot about this topic,
Mm-hmm.
mostly from a mentorship point of view, and how can I help, the younger marketers coming up behind me, just like what I said. So I've thought about this a
Mm-hmm.
lot. So I have a pretty, I guess, maybe a structured answer to this question. And if
Perfect.
I was writing a job rec for a CMO, what would I add?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot more verbiage around revenue ownership, just like what we've talked about. Pipeline
Mm-hmm.
goals is either shared with the CRO or fully owned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bringing these two, if you have to have these two roles, bringing them together, more tangible, even optics in a very visual way, so that
Mm-hmm.
even from the outside, you see these two roles actually together and working together. I think that there has to be a lot more of an accountability around a customer experience, not just the acquisition, but in the full cycle messaging, even
Yeah.
after the baton is handed off to sales and they close that deal. And sometimes we circle back around and we do case studies, but still more of full cycle messaging for our accounts, account
Yes.
ownership,
Yeah, I
full
like that.
account ownership. I think cross-functional collaboration, not just the CRO, the CMO, but
Mm-hmm.
fluent in product. That's why I said, Wade, put me on every single demo.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
want to be fluent in product, I'm fluent in sales. And I also want to fully understand the needs of my customer before,
Exactly.
during, and after the buying cycle is complete.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think that's the only answer to being a revenue leader is you've got to be versed in almost every seat and know your customer's pain, know their challenges, know how you can write about solving them, but also know the questions that are asked in every demo call and create content around those and being really integrated into the sales process. I think we're still seeing in our channel a separate sales process with a separate marketing process, with a separate nurture process, with a separate customer success process, right? And none of that has been thought about together. It's thought about in a silo, and then we wonder why somebody falls off in the funnel, why somebody falls off as a customer, right? We're not thinking about lifetime value as marketers either, right? A lot of marketers are thinking we closed the SQL number we needed, good
done.
to go, right?
Hands off. Yeah.
We're not thinking about ARR and churn and all of that stuff. And I think in our channel, we've got variety of different company sizes. And like I'm going into a flat organization with about 22 people. And I think me being able to be that revenue leader there is a lot more simple and cut and dry because of the way the business is set up than maybe some of these larger scale businesses that have, 800 people, 2,000 people, 10,000 people in the channel, right? So what we're talking about here, I don't think is necessarily something that like a BDO or an RSM can really be talking about as a revenue leader, although some of it really you should be still thinking. But just wanted to pin that a little bit is like, let's talk about, that company size and how that kind of fluctuates.
Well, that's an interesting point. My favorite article ever in business is the new product development game from 1986, and I referenced the 80s with sales processes and
You
marketing.
love the 80s.
I do love the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Neon everywhere. But what that article was two people who did research on some of the biggest manufacturing companies, and especially Toyota, and how they were innovating the way that they delivered products, from hearing feedback from their audience all the way they develop the products and then sell them. And Toyota created Agile to a big degree based on some of the stuff that were highlighted in the article.
Mm-hmm.
That's a massive organization that was able to lift and shift that whole infrastructure. I don't think there's a big company that can say our sales process is too precious. Sales is never going to be as complex
Mm-hmm.
as actually like engineering something. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We have to be humble and admit that
That's the
there's
hardest
more
part.
room for error for us,
Yeah.
because
Oh my
it's a fluid human relationship.
God. Mm-hmm.
Changing your system has to happen sooner or later, so you might as well do it now when you can. Otherwise, you're kind of just like developing this crutch where you can say,
Yeah.
it's okay that this is what happens. You get one sales guy who's like, you said we can swear, so I'm going to say total asshole, and does not track anything in CRM, tells you this is the way that I've always done it. Right? I'm being very stereotypical,
But like, we all know one.
yeah. And you tolerate them, you keep them, you promote them and reward them because they're selling. But guess what? Go hire as an intern and have someone who's hungry and humble and actually trying to learn stuff. They're going to be way better. Like, real example from my life, and I'm going to give him a shout out, is Bijan Hirani, who now runs alliances at Faulty. When he came on as an intern on my team, he was an intern on my team, straight out of school. I think he had like still a few courses left, and then he came back and finished.
Such a good example.
After he finished, sorry. But that's an example of someone who was extremely hungry, extremely humble,
Mm-hmm.
willing to learn everything, came in and dominated.
He sure did.
And absolutely killed it, and is continuing to kill it in new roles and getting promoted all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should be overly precious about like your current process. It's okay to sometimes change something drastically.
Agreed.
Do it in like a way that's not going to harm your bottom line too much.
Mm-hmm.
But know the opportunity cost of keeping a person. Because if you're keeping a system and if you're keeping a person that's not working, that is also costly, because you're paying the cost of not having something even better the whole time.
Yeah, true that. True that. I love that perspective. More businesses need to think like that. I want to see a rise of that in 2026 when we're catching up. So I love it. Okay. As we kind of get to the end of our time, this has been a great chat. I feel like we could talk about this for 6 hours. And we probably will continue this chat again and again, especially once I get my butt in my seat as a chief marketing officer fully. We'll have a recap of this in 6 months. What is kind of your last piece of advice for a listener who wants to go down this path of becoming a revenue leader? What's some advice you can lean or give to them based on your experience? For me, it's find a mentor who's already doing it. I love mentorship. I'm a big fan of that. And the other one is learn your counterpart's role. Learn what a salesperson really does. Learn what they read about. Learn what they look at in CRM. Care about deal velocity. Care about close loss, like Khaled was saying. Those are a couple of things that I'm like, if you could do a couple things today to put yourself on that path, that's where I would start. I might have taken a lot of them away and answered it myself.
I'll go a step further. I'm such a visual person. And I'm saying it. I believe that the sales funnel is dying, right? Yeah. I see it as more a circular motion. That sales funnel may be there, but it goes beyond that. And so I think right now we have a real opportunity to build a full funnel marketing opportunity. So that's where the brand, the message, the value, all stay consistent from that first click to that continual renewal. So staying a part of that that process all the way through, taking a seat at every table, asking to be more involved, sit on sales calls, learn what drives that renewal, whatever that looks like in your B2B business. The P&L, we didn't even talk about the P&L.
I know.
But
I
study
know.
the P&L, ask questions. Can you manage a P&L?
Mm-hmm. Do you even know what it means?
Right. If you're in sales, flip the script.
Exactly.
Partner with demand gen. Learn
Yep.
what that means. I mean, I told you, I'm teaching my sales team to market.
Mm-hmm.
Learn what SEO, paid, brand, learn what all those things actually do. If you're in sales, if you're in marketing, take a seat at the other table. If you're in sales, come on over, take a seat at our table and let's talk.
I love it. What about you, Khaled? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, Kate touched on the P&L element, but
Mm-hmm.
this was actually a big blind spot for me until maybe a couple of years ago, because my background is initially like finance and economics and accounting. So I didn't realize that a lot of marketers are kind of scared of like managing a P&L, and a lot of people don't know managerial accounting, especially, which is so critical because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of the bullshit that we're talking about is actually because of managerial accounting. It's because of
Yep.
costing,
Yep.
and because sales says we don't want to recognize the cost of a trade show on our side, and marketing doesn't get to recognize the revenue on their side. So that builds up the prejudice against each other.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you learn about this, the better. If you just look up like managerial accounting 101 on YouTube, you're gonna get so many good courses that help.
Love
But the other thing is having empathy. Again, building up on Kate's point, like empathize with the challenges the other team's having, empathize with your customers, and empathize with the company's ownership and your own leaders, because they're probably feeling some pressure from somewhere that they then dump on you. So try to understand, how can we create ease for everyone, and how can we
Yeah.
create alignment in our directionality. Go out with people outside of work. I used to hate doing that, still kind of hate doing that. I think coworkers should be coworkers, and I want to have my private life. But sometimes it's good to push yourself out of that box and be friends a little, because that's kind of the glue that holds everything together. I'm gonna get long-winded, but there's a cool concept called liquid networks. There's a lot of business research on this, and liquid networks are an interesting thing because they actually mean two things. So in a lot of like early 20th century bars, you would have a lot of like thought leaders and true thought leaders, not LinkedIn stuff that we do now. And business people and things like that. And they would all go to the same pub, and you would have the same, like all the people that we study now in a radius of one pub in London, and they're all talking to each other, or one pub in wherever, not trying to be Eurocentric. So there's that concept of liquid networks where you're bonding over a beer or coffee or whatever your drink of choice is. But there's also the idea of networks that can fill in the gaps and not be so rigid as to fit in the departmental lines that we have. And I have a dotted line to you, and you have a dotted line to me, and we're matrixing the hell out of the organization. So
I love it.
try to be a bit more fluid with the way that you network in your organization.
Yeah, that's great advice. I love the idea of a liquid network. It's something we practice at every trade show that we go to, making sure we're, meeting the people who are new to us, or people who we're doing kind of ask and give sort of things throughout. So highly resonates in our channel for sure. All right, you guys. Well, thank you a million times for joining today. Appreciate the time and the discussion. I feel like we're going to have another one of these as a part 2, again, once I kind of get my butt in my seat and figure this whole thing out. So thanks for the time. And as always, thanks for listening. Party on. Bye.